Hunter Green, at least this year. While I do broadcast for West Ranch High School, I have been at the Sherman Oaks facility, that incredible ballpark at Notre Dame, and been able to see Hunter Green in past years.
It's quite a place, I must say, and pretty nice press box too, don't you think?
No doubt. I mean, pretty sharp and a first class for high school realm. As up there, as we said, Dalen Reyes, the second baseman. We don't see the scoreboard on right now, so as a result, we're going to have to just rely on our good folks in the truck, LivePlaySports.tv, and they're not caught up on the count either. So 2 pitches, and we think right now the count should be, with that offering outside, 2-1. Carter Kessinger will be facing off in this ball game against Robert Gonzalez, and that's who you see out there right now, the hard-throwing left-hander for Redlands East. The offering's over for a strike, and that should even up the count right there. It shows 2-1.
Those Notre Dame hitters got
3-1, pardon me. Right back to the box to, of course, Bobby Gonzalez. Flips to first, and that's that.
Yeah, with this lefty throwing for Redlands East Valley, you know, the Notre Dame guys,
Stepping into the box for Notre
the
Dame,
approach
number
has to be
11,
the opposite
Noah
way
Taylor.
for those right-handers. You know, to try to pull a ball against a lefty like this is going to cause a lot of ground balls similar to that last one right there.
The left-handed bat of Noah Taylor will step up there, and if you're just joining us, adorned in their good-looking blue top and a gray pant is the Knights of Notre Dame. The pitch inside tight. He hit him with the pitch. So just like that, we've got a runner at first in the person of Noah Taylor. As for the home squad, they're all in white with a red and black lettering
Stepping up to the
and a
plate
black
tonight,
hat with
number
the
5,
red
Hunter Green.
symbol emblazoned on the front of that. Those are the Wildcats of Redlands East. Notre Dame got here by beating San Clemente 3-1. Redlands East took care of business against a very talented and senior Layden Santiago team. Beat them 7-4. Now it's the all-everything. Where's the fife and drum and the drum roll and everything goes with it?
Watch the thunder. He brings the thunder. That's what it is with that bat.
First pitch swinging, and it's near our broadcast position up and over the screen, and the count 0-1.
That was a really good swing on that pitch. I really like seeing hitters. I'm a professional hitting instructor. I really like seeing hitters get inside the ball like he just did on that pitch.
Yeah, that's not a fluke. You know the name Campanis. That's baseball royalty. That's who's sitting next to me right now. Al Campanis' grandson, and his dad played Major League Ball. Jimmy Campanis Jr. right here with his expert analysis to join us on LivePlaySports.tv. There was a throw over to first to check that runner. Noah Taylor, he's got good speed. Hunter up there waiting with and it doesn't show a count on our graphic screen. We're relying on the scoreboard. Maybe it's not operative, but that pitch down low in the dirt.
I think we're looking at a 1-1 count now here.
Great. So Hunter, and I know it's been, again, said ad infinitum, if you want to use some Latin, in terms of everyone knows he was on the front of Sports Illustrated, offering for a strike like that, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, he was wearing the Notre Dame uniform, and I thought that was really a great shot of the young man. I think he represents the school very well.
No doubt he has that, all the skills, but also the countenance, the ability to deal with the fact that he's on the SI cover. In fact, no California prep athlete had ever been on the Sports Illustrated cover before.
That's awesome.
Waiting at the plate, we'll see if he likes to go the other way, but he uses the whole field. A gifted hitter, and maybe even more gifted pitcher, fouled away. And by the way, we mentioned that a little bit earlier. At the end of April, Jim, they shut down his pitching. That was they weren't going to take any chances.
There were several million reasons why they did that. Okay, so
a lot of Benjamins in there.
And here he's a UCLA committed. Of course, I'm a USC alum, so obviously we're crossing our fingers he goes in the draft as well.
The southpaw Gonzalez comes back, lifted down the right field line, foul.
I've just been really impressed with Hunter's approach. And again, there's a pitch where it's right on the outside corner with 2 strikes. A lot of batters, they'll take that pitch because they're not really looking out that far. The good hitters do, and they adjust in. So there's a great foul off right there. Although he didn't get it, he kept himself alive.
Working from a stretch, and here's the 2-2. A 2-hopper right down to the shortstop. To second for 1. Back to first. Not nearly in time because Hunter's got something else. Great speed as well. They got the force play. Now Hunter Green's at first base with 2 down. Let's take a look right now. The Wildcats of Redlands East with the leather. It's the battery, Gonzalez and Caden Hobson.
Here's the replay. He did smoke that
did.
ball, though. That was a good sharp hit, two hopper right there. And that just shows you how fast that Hunter can run to beat that play out. That looked like a bang, bang, double play, no problem.
First pitch over for a strike to number 4, Josh Perlmutter, the first baseman for Notre Dame, the Knights. The offering finds itself inside and looking for some ruling from the umpire down the line, but no, he didn't commit himself.
They looked like he did go around on that one.
Okay, 0-2.
Looks like the first base ump called that a strike.
Robert Gonzalez, he's headed to New Mexico State. And that one he spins, it's outside. Anyway, get back to their defensive line of Dylan Fashionpours at first, Robert Matei at second, Joe Rodriguez is the Wildcat shortstop, Christian Kirtley at third base this afternoon for Redlands East, as it was a good save that time on the part of the catcher. For a moment in time, it looked like it might bounce away. Instead, Green remains at first. There's 2 down here in the top of the first inning. Damon Keith in left, Keller Rayborn, the center fielder, Alfonso Mancinas for Redlands East. High chopper just fouled down the line. They'll come back, try it again, and the count will remain even.
It's to be a great count right here for Hunter to try to take second base, get in scoring position for a little single, 2 outs. He's definitely got the speed.
One thing, everyone very pensive, even though he's playing offensively, to keep an eye on him on the base pass, everything. Taking care of him with kid gloves before the June draft is here. They don't want damaged goods. By the way, the 3 major league teams eyeballing 100 Green. The Twins have the first pick. Then comes the Cincinnati Reds, and then the Padres. And I have a feeling that if it was up to Hunter, he'd like to stay on the West Coast, near home. Home for him, Stevenson Ranch, California, and a chance to play for the Padres. But I don't feel, Jim, that it'll get that far in the draft.
Well, I heard today that he's been touted to be 1, 2, or 3. It's still in speculation. I doubt he will go any lower than that, though.
One more time, Gonzalez, a throw over to first. By the way, Bob Gonzalez, 4-1 mark, a 2.79 ERA, and this is his 14th game of the year. Fine strikeout to walk ratio over 2-1. Trying to work out of this right now with Hunter Green at first. It's lifted as a fly ball to right with the shades down, the right fielder under it. No, he could not make the play. He got it lost in the sun, Mancinas, and now Hunter Green will score on that error to right. And look at Hunter's expression there at home plate. He thought he caught a little bit of a blessing that time and a help from above. He had the shades down, Jimmy. Alfonso did in right, and then he had trouble, and he just threw up his hands and said, you know what, I can't see it.
That's a tough fly ball. This field, the way it's arranged, it's going to be tough for the right fielders, on both teams for the next few innings, that's for sure.
Knights, number 19, Michael Whiteside.
And I don't think he touched it, so I think that might go officially as a double. And of course, as a batter, I always love getting those. But but it's certainly up to the officials on that.
Right. Well, anyway it shakes out, we know that, of course, Hunter Green was able to score, and it's 1-0 Knights. Left-handed bat up there, swings away. Mike Whiteside can't catch up to it, and it will be 0-1. Whiteside with the open stance, and the bat going back and forth like a windshield wiper. This one waved at it, missed on the off-speed delivery, and that'll run the count. I know that it's not 2-2 on our graphic. Like a preacher relies on the good book, we rely on the scoreboard operating. I know during summer and winter ball, there's sometimes we don't even get a roster, let alone a scoreboard on. This is a playoff game. We need our scoreboard. That pitch just misses. We'll keep an eye and do it the old-fashioned way by following the umpire and his gestures. It's showing 0-2 on our graphic here. Gonzalez, a backwards glance of the runner, then deals a little bit of it he got. Not much more than that.
He's staying alive, and again, right here with this tough lefty, he's got to be thinking outside corner to protect. That 2-strike approach right here, there's an RBI out there for him.
Already 1-0 Notre Dame, striking first blood, breaking the ice, so to speak, in this ball game with Redlands East. Top of the first inning, Gonzalez winds and delivers. It's going to be a curveball that's down low.
Another pretty good pitch there by Gonzalez.
Good group of fans above and I would say, a berm area where the road is, where the Notre Dame bus is. A lot of fans out there, and they've got, of course, the umbrellas out. A quick throw to second, and they get him a second. I would go to Vegas, watch Penn and Teller, Chris Angel. He did his own magic act that time. Gonzalez wheeling 180 and able to make the spot-on throw. Here's the replay.
Well, good quick feet right there. That's the key to any kind of a pick, and got him by a mile right there.
I'll tell you, give credit where credit is due to the shortstop, Joe Rodriguez, who was able to hold on to the baseball even though a runner was coming into him full bore. So, nonetheless, Hunter Green gets that first run, and so does Notre Dame. 1-0 Knights, and the Wildcats of Redlands East coming up.
Heading into the bottom of the first. The score 1-0 Notre Dame.
You want to turn it off? Yeah, I do. Yeah, right? Welcome back, everyone, to LivePlaySports.tv exclusive production of this CIF Southern Section second round game. Notre Dame and Redlands East. And Notre Dame, the 1-0 lead now. An opportunity for Redlands to head to the bat with Robert Gonzalez, followed by Joe Rodriguez, and then Caden Hobson.
Gonzalez is the pitcher, the left-handed pitcher, batting right-handed for Redlands East Valley.
He's a multi-talented guy. He can do a little bit of everything.
Obviously.
And who takes that to the extreme is, of course, Hunter Green.
Right.
I mean, you wonder in his particular career, after maybe they realize pitching is a risky proposition, he's good enough to play as an offensive player possibly in the major leagues. They already feel he can pitch in the big leagues.
Well, and, you know, that to have a second outlet, you know, wow, that's quite a talent.
The pitcher is Carter Kissinger, and the pitch that time found itself with a 2-0 count from Carter, 6-1 mark, and he's a sophomore, and I can't think of a better sophomore ERA anywhere in the Southern Section, 1.14. That's low.
He has good movement on the ball. I got a chance to see his last home game, and I just kept seeing him just drilling that sinker low and into the righties, keeping the ball down against the lefties, and throwing a little bit of a changeup. So he's got good stuff, although he's only a sophomore. He's got really good stuff.
Kissinger looking for a sign from catcher Jalen Parks. And that's going to be the slider that Jim talked about. It's over for a strike. And we find the count right now at 2-1. Carter, second in the league, and they play in the very tough, highly competitive Mission League, 1.14 ERA. Behind Hunter Green, 0.75 ERA.
Yeah, what's that team ERA, right? Jeez.
Well, as a team, Notre Dame is at 2.52, but if you take away these two guys, Messrs. Green and Kissinger, then it does go up in a precipitous way. This will be three-quarter delivery right back to the box, hit him on the thigh. He recovers, the throw is high, and a great job by the first baseman over there, Josh Perlmutter, to bring it to terra firma, so to speak, and get the out.
I think that got him just in the back of the hamstring there.
He's rubbing it now. That tells you exactly.
He's also smiling because I think he knows that just got him in a tough spot, but he's going to be okay. Just got to rub it out a little bit.
That was a hot shot up the middle, no doubt about it.
I'll tell you, as a former catcher, when your pitcher got hit, you don't mind them getting hit, and we'll see a replay right here. You don't want them to get them hit in the front foot. Like that right there, yeah, that's going to sting for a second, but I don't think that's going to impair his pitching whatsoever. He got up and fired it over there.
What I love about the reaction of athletes and baseball players is my reaction was, if I get hit there, I'm going to start rubbing it and maybe falling down crying. There's no time. There's no crying in baseball.
No.
And he recovered through, and then he goes, ow. He's got an owie.
Looks like they're going to give him a couple of pitches here. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, when you see their landing knee or their landing foot get hit, that's when they start altering their swing, or their pitch rather. And here it is, another shot from the center field camera. You know, when the ball rolls away 2 feet, it hits you pretty square. You know, we call it peeling off your leg versus ricocheting. You know.
Well, we know he's all right, but the main thing to avoid injury, not to alter the pitching form and the pitching, again, release point. So they're going to give him an opportunity, obligatory throws up there.
Back in the day, the old pitcher, Dizzy Dean, the pitcher Dizzy Dean, he had a ball that hit off his front foot. He went and altered his windup, and he blew his arm out. So this is, again, something you got to watch for.
And this young man, Carter Kissinger, only a sophomore. So he's got a great future in front of him.
Yeah, this Notre Dame team has a great future in front of them. A lot of good guys. Their junior varsity team, many of those kids will be playing varsity at other schools.
And right now it's Joe Rodriguez at the plate. Here's the pitch. A bit outside, it's 1-0. Notre Dame, as we said, coming out of the tough Mission League, and by the way, they were 22-8 overall and won 15 out of 18 in the league play. They were a full 3 games ahead of their second-place team in the league in the win column. Pitch misses outside. Harvard Westlake, however, had 3 inexplicable ties in the league.
Wow.
And that may have made a big difference for them. But nonetheless, Notre Dame won it. And with that luxury of winning it, then they could sit down Hunter Green. They didn't have to have him pitch. High drive to right there. It's going back, and he couldn't see it in the sun. It's going to fall untouched. And that's going to be a double just like that for Joe Rodriguez. So we saw that phenomenon happening a moment ago with the right fielder, a moment ago, Mancinas, for, of course, the Redlands East team. And now Noah Taylor, Jim, couldn't find that at all.
Well, the ball, I'm telling you, the sun is going straight down. Look at the shadow on the pitcher right now. Imagine what the right fielder's looking at. He's looking right into the sun. So that's for either team, we talked about this last inning, kind of equal playing ground, So can't complain about the heat if you're one team or the other. You're both playing in the heat. You're both dealing with that right field sun.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you don't touch the ball, they say no error. But however, that can go either way.
Right.
The bottom line is we're dealing with high schoolers here. And so in my play-by-play and the things I work on, we do extend them a little more of an olive branch when it comes to some of the things that go on the high school realm. The fields are not always perfectly even place to place, and the situations are, again, sometimes chaotic for these 15 to 17-year-olds.
Yeah, these, Notre Dame has got a great complex. This is a really nice field as well. So I think these, this game, other than the sun that's going to set here in a little bit, it'll be a little bit better late in this game, but right now it's tough.
All right, Kissinger now to the plate, and it's going to be a strike. We've got ourselves a runner at second base right now for Redlands East in the person of a young man who just a moment ago got a double. I'm talking about Joe Rodriguez. Caden Hobson waiting the left-handed bat. Here's the 0-1. A chopper, a high one. It's going to be trouble, and it's going to bounce through for a solid base hit. Here comes Rodriguez to score, and the runner is going to hold up over there at second base, that being Caden Hobson. And all that was, Jim, it looked like a typical bouncer up the middle for a base hit, but he made a double out of it, got the RBI, and we have a tie ball game, 1-1, between Redlands East and Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I didn't see that on the replay, but
stepping into the box for
like
Redlands
the center
East
fielder might have
22, Damon Keith.
looks like maybe Pollock misplayed it there in center.
That replay is inconclusive. Now, that might give us an idea what happened out there.
I think it just
got right by him.
It got under his glove there.
Yep. So that moment in time was enough with that particular error to score Rodriguez and tie this ball game. And now the cleanup hitter, Damon Keith.
Yeah, so I think you score that a single with an error and no RBI.
Damon, a little Texas leaguer, and it's going to fall between the second baseman and the right fielder. Then he kicks it further into right. Here comes the runner to the plate, Caden Hobson, to score. The initial batter at the plate, Damon Keith, goes all the way into third base. 2-1 Redlands East. It just seems to be a comedy of errors a couple of times fighting the sun. This time was a heroic effort on the part of Dalen Reyes, but then after he couldn't get it, watch what he does. He bounces it, kicks it, whatever. Now he has to go ahead and get it, and that allowed to run to score.
It's almost like Redlands East Valley knows their field. They know this sun, and they're definitely executing right now to the strength of their home field. It's the sun.
Ryan Silva, the hitter, he was the star. Of course, in that playoff game, that win over Santiago, 7-4, Silva waiting, and the fastball to him is a strike, 0-1. By the way, Wildcat Field here in Redlands, it's a symmetrical ballpark. That's a rarity in our high school journeys. 327 down the lines, 380 in the power alleys, a full 400 to dead center, and it looks like it's about a 6-foot barrier out there.
Yeah, this place is bigger than Dodger Stadium,
Very spacious. As a result, if you can believe it, Redlands East has not hit a home run this year.
And with these BB Core bats that players have been using the last few years, and again, I complain because I'm a hitting coach, but, these make it a lot tougher on these young guys to drive the home runs. They can still get a great swing, though, and work on that.
Kissinger, one more time, more contemplative up there. Taking his dear sweet time about, then comes right to the plate. It's a strike at the knees. That's going to make it right now 0-2.
That's where Kissinger has to live.
That's
right
it,
there.
strike three, pardon me.
That's where Kissinger is going to have to live today. That low and outside, low and inside
Number
sinker.
27, Alfonso Mencinas.
That wasn't easy to get Silva, a guy with a 509 slugging average and a near 400 average. So a great piece of pitching on the part of CK Carter Kissinger. Now here's Alfonso Mencinas. He's the one that had that trouble initially out there in right field. Now the wind is really kicking up. Old Glory on his staff, I'd say at least 20, 22 miles an hour, moving left to right again in an easterly direction. The offering down low, it's a ball, 1-0. The Knights with 2 runs in the inning, they're up 2-1. Caught a couple of breaks in the inning fortuitously. Wildcats up 2-1. We got a missed graphic on there. And this is going to be now into left center field, a solid base hit. Taking off for second, Mencinas, and he's in there ahead of the throw with a good double. So, as a result, Alfonso Mencinas, a great line drive, hitting them where they ain't, the old baseball adage. And we'll see it here one more time. Great form, stayed right with it, Jim Campanis.
Yeah, it was good inside-out hitting by the left-hander, finding a gap there in left center, and obviously scoring the run. That's what you want to do, even in a sac fly situation. You want to be thinking opposite alley, pop fly, long fly. He happens to squeak in for a double on this one.
Hitter at the plate waiting, and with an off-speed pitch, that's a strike, starting him off right there. And the name Christian Kirtley, the third baseman for the Wildcats. It's the Wildcats versus the Knights. Natural predatory enemies, Redlands East and Notre Dame. But a big road trip, wouldn't you say, Jim, for Notre Dame to make the long trip from Sherman Oaks, the San Fernando Valley, to come all the way out here on the edge of humanity here, and Redlands, California.
I have to say that I love how the CIF is set up now. When I was younger, we only played the teams around us, and this is, I think, a lot more of an experience for both the parents and for the players.
And the Notre Dame bus, might I say, they went first class. It's not a school bus.
That's better than my minor league buses right there. Kidding me?
They're living large. They just want to give Hunter Green a little taste of the next level. He's very close to Dave Winfield and Torrey Hunter of the Minnesota Twins. Everyone feels they're going to make that first choice in the draft in June. And those are two good guys to help tutor, nurture the young man.
That's right.
I can add this to my Dave Winfield file. I was there when he hit his first major league home run.
Awesome.
Yep. I give away my age. I was 13 at the time, 1973, okay, at San Diego Stadium. I do know there was a name before it was called Jack Murphy and Qualcomm.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to be the ball boy in a World Series, and he was in that game, and he actually got a hit that game, and he wanted the ball because he had gone through a slump. It was actually kind of funny.
Anyway, this is a high drive into deep left, going back. The left fielder, it's over his head. Here comes one run to score. Here's the throw down to second, not in time. RBI double on the part of Christian Kirtley. And I've got it down now, 3-1 Wildcats.
4-1.
4-1. All right.
Yeah, Rodriguez has scored.
Starting up the dish for the
Hobson has scored.
Wildcats.
Keith has scored.
Number 16,
And now Mencinas has scored.
Fashionpour.
And our scoreboard remains off. Nonetheless, I guess it could be said it's a deluge of runs after Notre Dame got that initial run in the top of the frame. Coming back in the bottom of the first inning with 4 big runs is this Wildcat team. And here's the hitter at the plate, Dylan. And the last name, Fashionpour.
It makes you think if Kessinger's a little tight with that getting hit by that first line drive.
A backwards glance of the runner on the part of Carter Kissinger, and here's the pitch. Finds itself down low. So we've got Perlmutter out there, and we've got Fashionpour. Multi-syllabic names. We don't get paid by the letter.
No.
The right-hander, a righty at the plate, that means advantage to the pitcher. A fastball misses outside.
Yeah, my friend got called up to the major leagues when I was playing. His name was William Pennyfeather, and he broke the record for the longest last name. But now, Salta Lamacchia, he now has broken it by 1 letter. So
it's funny, and for me, it'll be 35 years of sports play-by-play in August, as again the pitcher comes to the plate, high drive, right side, out of play. And I never got this name out of my mind. San Diego State baseball at Hawaii, and a Hawaiian pitcher named Kel-E-E Pulioli. In the middle of the night, I still get that. Kel-E-E. I can't tell you which was the first and last name. I think that was all part of a last name. 1987. And I can't remember anybody from last week. Kissinger one more time from a stretch, and the 3-quarter delivery. Strike 3 called, and that'll be that. But not before 4 come over for Redlands East. They're feeling good because after 1 inning of play, it's the Wildcats 4 and the Notre Dame Knights 1. We'll be right back on liveplaysports.tv.
Hey folks, if you're hungry.
That ball that they're doing, I could have caught if I was at 5. Why am I playing at 8 against the wind? The wind, the right, okay, but the right, he just went over your head too. But no, the left, even okay, fine. So here, then listen. No, wait, okay, no, look at it. Stop trying to fight. If you want, look, then here, with a right hand in your up, go to a 5.5. I'm okay with that. Okay, but I'm saying from now on, nothing over our head and no more doubles. That's it. Flush that first inning, we learn from it, we go. That's it. Okay? Let's go. Let's go. Just so you know, now on, you're on out. All right? You got it. You got it all figured out. Let's go.
Michael Whiteside will start things off right now for Notre Dame. Down 4-1 after, again, a plethora of runs come over for this Redlands East team in the bottom of the first inning. And the pitch to Whiteside is a strike. Beginning his second inning of work, but staked to a nice lead, is Bobby Gonzalez on the hill right now. Gonzalez winds, and it's swung on, and he got a little piece of it, but still, it's going to be a strike. Gonzalez already spoken for. He's going to be an Aggie, headed to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
And if memory serves, I think Whiteside's on his way to Michigan. So I got to confirm that. But
hey, that's a line drive right at the second baseman, Robert Matei. But I'll tell you something. If that's true, he's got pretty close to wearing a Wolverine-type baseball uniform right now. They wear that blue.
He plays football, if I remember right.
Berman.
You don't see that a lot these days. Most players are playing one sport nowadays in high school.
Except at the perfect opening to talk about the incredible journey and story of the Redlands East coach, Brian Ducey. As the fastball misses outside right now to Grant Berman. It turned out, going through history, Ducey's father is the head basketball coach for many years at nearby University of Redlands.
All right.
And they're multi-sport multitaskers in the Ducey household because as a result, Brian helps out his dad, a longtime assistant coach with him over there in basketball and hoops.
Wow, that's awesome.
So one time they had to pick up John Wooden, who's a friend of the dad, Jim Ducey, and of course this young man, first-year head coach Ducey, has a heart condition, one that's not unlike what Hank Gathers went through. He was never allowed or cleared to go ahead and play any rigorous type of sports. Finally, the doctor said you could play baseball. And he was part of the first Citrus Belt League title team here in 2003. Anyway, this is a fly ball to center, drifting back. He's got a beat on it, reaches out, and makes the grab. That's Keller Rayborn. Nice grab in center.
Now, you saw that right there. The center fielder, no problem with the sun. So obviously the way that the sun is setting is literally directly on those right fielders. So center fielders are going to have to help the right fielders out right here.
Nice job on the part of Rayborn. See, he was able to track it down beautifully. Anyway, getting back to that John Wooden story, they picked him up, bring him out to Redlands, spent a few days out here, and they asked John Wooden, what was your favorite sport? I mean, you're a great basketball coach, but and he said baseball.
He and my grandpa were really good friends.
Oh, they were? Okay,
yeah.
Well, there you go. And he loved baseball, and when he said that, the young Brian Ducey just almost jumped out of the car because he felt he had validation, and he could follow up, even with the heart condition, to play a game he loved, any type of game.
Right.
Finally allowed by the doctors to play baseball. It's a wonderful story.
Fantastic. And Coach Wooden was great. I went to his basketball camp, and first thing he had us do was learn how to tie our shoes correctly, just like he did to Lou Alcindor when he went to UCLA.
What was his adage? And it could be applied to baseball too. Play quickly, but don't rush.
Yeah.
Something like that. Same can be said for life. Here's the pitch. He comes back. Did he commit himself to that? Sure did. Break the wrist.
There's a lot of similarities between the different sports. Good defensive backs need to have footwork. Good shortstops need to have footwork. Good catchers need to have footwork. Good hockey goalies need to have footwork.
Waiting at the plate, number 44. That's Carter Kessinger. So it's pitcher versus pitcher matchup right now. And the count shows up at 3-2.
I think he's trying to hit one off his rear end now, the former pitcher.
The gluteus maximus. We're using a lot of Latin here. Tough chance at second. Bobbled by Matei. Recovers and gets. Nice job for Robert Matei at second, handling that hot potato. After 1.5, it remains Redlands East 4, Notre Dame 1. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's the CIF Southern Section second round playoff. Redlands, California. Ronnie Wald along with Jim Campanis Jr. braving the 90-plus degree temperatures, but loving every minute of it.
And it's a dry heat, Ronnie, dry heat.
That's what they say. The hitter at the plate should be Robert Matei. Let's see, we'll double check that. It's number 12, yeah. And by the way, isn't it amazing, and you brought this up last week, that it's pretty much common knowledge. It's amazing how many times a guy makes a great play in the field and leads off the next inning.
It's almost like the baseball gods make that happen, you know?
He a little number chili dipped in front of the plate, quickly grabbed by the pitcher, who throws and gets in time for the out. So Matei is a history. Toast, as they would call it, and now here comes Robert Gonzalez, the top of the order. They just corrected me. I've got all kinds of Wildcat fans around me here. It's Redlands East Valley.
East Valley. They call it Rev.
Well, I think the fans, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go with that acronym Rev, if you don't mind. It makes it a lot easier for me. I sure don't want to make the mistake and call it Redlands.
No, that's arch rival. You can't go there.
Robert Gonzalez at the plate and Carter Kessinger. Starting pitcher down 4-1 in this ball game. The pitch is a fastball that misses outside. 49 innings of work coming into this ball game for Carter. That's quite remarkable for a sophomore.
It is.
I mean, he's been a very important part of this pitching staff for the Knights, and they haven't held back because he is a sophomore.
Now, I think just these last couple of pitches, I think we always call it, he's aiming it a little bit instead of using his natural abilities and just kind of hitting the spots.
One more time, and that would be a good example of that, overthrowing it and trying to, again, do too much with the particular pitch. And it shows right now 3-0. We're here in the second inning, 4-1. Wildcats, I hope our director back there in the truck, and he's our leader, the CEO, the top guy.
The big dog.
The big dog. Good one. Darren is the director, and we want him to know that the score is 4-1 Wildcats. This is going to be flagged by the second baseman. The throw in time for the out. Dalen Reyes went down and got dirty that time and was able to make the play for the out.
See if we get a replay of that. That was a perfect dive.
Stepping up to the plate for Rev, number 1.
And catch for Reyes.
It's even has greater import when it happens in an important ball game like this. Winner moves on. Loser ignominiously goes home. Look at that.
Yep. He had plenty of time after he caught that hard shot by Gonzalez.
Pretty much one and done as we start to filter the teams down to the Long Beach Blair Field semifinal for D1. As for D2, I don't know where they're having the championship this year, but I do know that this Wildcat team played for the championship last year in Division II.
Yep. They
played over here where the California League Stampede play at San Bernardino.
The Inland Empire 66ers home stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played on that field. It's quite nice there as well. These minor leaguers haven't made Lake Elsinore, Rancho Cucamonga. Come on.
High pop-up, and now coming back, looking for it. He has a chance at it, and then it moves away from him, and he couldn't quite grab it that time, Jalen Parks.
There's quite a lot of, I don't know if you can see it on TV, but there is quite a lot of foul ground here. Most fields kind of end where the grass ends, but it looks like there's another 10, 15, 12 yards of dirt. So at first, I thought that ball was going out, but it came back. I think the wind kind of pulled that back a little too.
I don't think it was a sun issue as much as the fact that he just overran it, and then he found the last minute.
Yep.
It was far away.
As a catcher, you got to kind of expect those. That's another.
That's a blooper into right center, and almost a great catch again for Dalen Reyes. Instead, it's going to fall as a single.
I think the Sun has 3 hits today, don't they?
The Sun is leading the way in terms of hitting proficiency.
Yeah.
By the way, Joe Rodriguez, that's his second hit of the ball game. Overall,
Stepping
Redlands.
in the box for Redlands East Valley, number 7, Caden Hobson.
4 hits in this game, and Notre Dame has yet to get a hit so far. At least by my scorebook, unless you find something different.
No. Yeah, Caden had a single last at bat and an RBI as well.
Caden Hobson at the plate, their starting catcher. Well, Notre Dame, they're not so used to the conditions out here, but Caden Hobson and this Wildcat team know their field. As that pitch is a strike from Kessinger into Hobson. Redlands has won 10 of 12 games here this year. Yes, they love home cooking. Thank you very much. Kessinger eyeballed his catcher. Instead, a quick throw, a very close play at first. And
I think Rodriguez was kind of looking like he was going to take off on that pitch. Almost got picked.
got to keep a close eye on Joe Rodriguez, the .415 hitter. And they've got a lot of steals on this team. No home runs, but 48 steals this year. First-year head coach, as I said, Brian Ducey stepping in there. Not an easy job filling the shoes of James Cordes, who last year got him into that championship game we mentioned in Division II. Cordes moved on as an assistant coach at Riverside Community College. Three-quarter delivery. It's for a strike on the inside part of the plate. And the count was showing now 0-2.
So Hobson's only a shortstop, left-handed hitting catcher, and based on reports, he's getting recruited quite heavily right now by D1 schools. So we'll see this guy in the future.
Hobson, a .515 on-base percentage for a catcher. 7 doubles and 15 runs batted in this year.
Not too shabby.
No. 7 doubles, the same number that's on the back of his uniform. And being a left-handed bat, he has a real golden opportunity, possibly, to get it up in the jet stream. Could they, in this playoff, get their first home run? 4-1 Wildcats. That pitch, strike 3 called. He's not going to get it that time. A beautiful bit of pitching on the part of Carter Kessinger. That was on the inside part of the plate. It was just beautiful as it ate the hitter alive. Still it remains after 2 complete. 4-1 Redlands East Valley. We'll be right back.
After 2 innings, the score remains the same. Leading off the inning for Notre Dame, number 14, Logan Pollock.
It's Logan Pollock, followed by Devin Ornelas, and then Dalen Reyes. Bottom 2 in the order, and then we head to the top of the order in Reyes. And a 4-1 lead right now for the home squad. Again, known affectionately as the Wildcats here at Redlands East Valley High School. That's where we're located right now. What a road trip for Notre Dame and the rest of us. Pitch up high right now on the part of the pitcher, that being Robert Gonzalez, to Logan Pollock.
By the way, the view from this field in the winter is epic with the snow-capped mountains. Awesome out here, and the temperature is a little nicer.
It's a little hazy now, so we see the outline of those magnificent mountains. However, you're absolutely right. And the road leading right up to Running Springs, there it goes.
Yep.
Highway 38, I believe it is.
Yeah, that goes to the back. We call it the back way up to Big Bear. So,
been up there many a time. And that would be quite a temperature, again, extreme. If you head up there right now, you'd be up there in a half hour and you drop about 30, 40 degrees. As that pitch swung on and missed, it's a strike. It's 2-1. I know it says on our graphic, Wildcats 4, Knights 1. Well, we want to thank Darren for making that switch, and I don't want anyone to think that maybe they left and were having trouble with their ocular eye situation or maybe adult beverages or something caused them to. No, it's been the Wildcats leading this ball game, the Wildcats of Redlands East, 4-1. So we got that straightened out. Thank you. Pollock waiting and now sends it as a pop-up, and a trio of Wildcats over there finally taking it beautifully. That was the shortstop Joe Rodriguez. And like I say, even though there are problems in right field and the sun should be setting beyond the western horizon in a little while, but still you can tell on this replay, Jimmy, that this Wildcat team knows how to play here at their field.
They absolutely do, and obviously they get to practice here every day, so that makes a big difference, and I think they might consider that a home field advantage.
Well, we were talking to Tom Dill, head coach of Notre Dame, about playing in the heat. Has he played in these conditions? And he said, oh, it's not me to worry about. It's for my players to worry about. I don't have to sweat it out, so to speak. And he's right.
Oh, it can get toasty in the valley, though. Come on.
We know that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. Waiting at the plate, the count him 1-1. It's the left-hand bat of Devin Ornelas. And the high pop-up on the part of Devin is going to stay. No, it's going to leave the infield and be on the shallow part of the grass, taken by, again, Joe Rodriguez for out number 2. Hey, a no-hitter's running here. Remember we talked about that?
Right.
Timmy Johnston was going along beautifully there against the El Dorado pitcher, but the El Dorado pitcher had a no-no going, and Jim popped it after 3 innings off the air and asked me if, by the way, when was I going to mention it? So I mentioned this one right now, and we're in the 3rd. Fastball down low and outside. At the plate, Dalen Reyes. He grounded out in the 1st. The left-hander rocks and comes right back with a fastball up tight, and that makes the count 2-0. Glad you're with us, not just, of course, in the Notre Dame Sherman Oaks Valley area or Redlands, but around the world here on LivePlaySports.tv. Along with Jim Campanis Jr., I'm Ronnie Wald, and that pitch was a strike. So stake to the lead, a talented Robert Gonzalez knows what he has to do out there, and really making it difficult for Notre Dame hitters has just fouled away. By the way, Notre Dame as a team, only a .296 team average. They rely on their talented pitching, which is at 2.52. On the other side of the ledger, Redlands a .325 team average and a very low team ERA of 2.1.
When you got a big field like this, and it looks like these guys can run as well, I think they're doing it with their legs, they're doing it with their bats, and with their gloves, and with the pitching. Both teams.
Reyes waiting, and the pitch is going to be a line drive. Hit on the line is a laser, and at the last moment, the right fielder, Mancinas, reached up. He'd already, again, had that error going back in the 1st inning, but that time he wasn't going to let that happen. He climbed the ladder a little bit. Here's your replay. And at the last minute, cat-like reflexes for the Wildcat to make the play for the out. 4-1, Wildcats, known as Redlands East Valley. We'll be back.
Folks, if you're hungry or thirsty, come check out the snack bar behind home plate. They've got pizza, nachos, and burritos and candy.
Leading off the inning for the Wildcats, number 22, Damon Keith.
Damon Keith, Ryan Silva, and then Alfonso Mancinas. That's the heart, the meat, the center right now of the Wildcat order. Numbers 4, 5, and 6. They have the 4-1 lead right now and beginning his own. Again, inning of work is one Carter Kissinger, down 4-1. Did he commit himself? Didn't matter. Pitch was over. First strike, beautifully, 0-1.
I think Kissinger's starting to settle in a little bit now.
Here in the third inning. Already got those jitters out of the way. A lot of movement on that particular pitch, but it's outside as a result. So again, those folks, if we ever can get a shot of it, it's very impressive. They're up there on that berm. That's where the road that leads back to a very modern, good-looking gymnasium, pretty much a new campus. Pitch over for a strike. I know we talked about when we did that West Ranch game what a new campus that was, built in the 90s. This one's 97.
Wow.
And then as a result, even more impressive, they've been able to put together a true baseball powerhouse out here.
Well, they're also a football powerhouse. We got one of the football coaches standing right here as well. He played at University of Redlands with my brother back in the day.
You know everyone, Jim. I'm convinced if Hillary or Trump walked up here, you'd be able to say hi to either one of them. Where you been all this time, Jim?
You get around this baseball game, gets you around, you meet a lot of great people. Like you, Ronnie.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I don't think I owe you any money. Here's the pitch. It's going to be a bounding ball knocked down by the second baseman. Reyes recovers and gets. That's what it's all about, Jim, being able to be cool and calm while you're knocking down the ball and then recovering and making the play.
No doubt, and that's the key to a good infielder. He also has really good footwork. Let him get himself in the right position to make that play.
I know your grandfather wrote that classic tome, and by the way, I looked for it, and it used to be in the Dodger Stadium store, no longer Dodger Way to Play Baseball.
Yeah, that was, and we're talking about trying to put it back out, just kind of update it a little bit. But
so you have the copyright.
Yeah.
The rights to it. Oh, wow. I'd love to see that. I pop up Reyes on the outfield grass and battling the sun all the way to make the catch for out number 2.
He put his hands up at first, like, where is it? Where is it? And I think he was able to find it and made a fine play amongst, considering the sunlight up there.
Now 2 away, and here's
Next up for the
Mancinas.
Wildcats. Number
I'll tell you, that was a true
Alfonso
Bible, a true
Mancinas.
textbook on how to play. And then it seems to be lost throughout baseball, but I think every young player should read The Dodger Way to Play Baseball. And then if you're not a Dodger fan, a Giant fan, keep that out of it. It's the Dodger way. No, it's the right way to play the game. And it fostered, again, a successful run for the Los Angeles Dodgers. They really utilized the techniques in there.
No doubt. There was at one point, I had a friend, a guy, a sabermetrics guy, tell me that 1 out of 4 major leaguers at one point in the 50s and 60s came through the Dodger organization at some level. That's kind of saying a lot when one team can dominate, the development of that many players.
And managers, when you think about someone, if you want to count it and say, well, he was Dodger born and bred, Sparky Anderson.
Yeah.
You can add all those championships. They weren't Dodger championships, but he learned the Dodger way.
Mike Scioscia.
That's still a bitter pill for a lot of us to swallow. But
I know.
I like Dave Roberts, and I spent time with him in 1996 at Visalia. I was the announcer there, and there was that young man who was very close to quitting baseball, and he had a stellar year in the California League, led it with 65 steals. His name, Dave Roberts. Thankfully, he stuck with the game. Pitch down low into the dirt, and we show it now on our graphic. It's 1-1. Third inning, everybody.
Silva watched strike 3 last at bat, and I think he wanted that pitch back after it crossed the plate.
Silva, as we said, the .509 slugging average and a .392 average coming in. Pitch slips away all the way to the backstop. And it shows up again on our graphic because we do not have the, again, enjoyment of the scoreboard. So we're kind of adrift at sea, so to speak. We went into a game last year, I think I told you about this last time, Winter League ball to Las Vegas. We didn't even get a roster from the from the coaches. So that's just the way it is.
You could have fun with that, though.
Yeah, making up names. And
of course. Like that. Especially in Vegas. You can come up with Vegas names. Johnny Strip.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Caesar.
You can go wild with it. Johnny gone broke.
Right.
Well, we did. We did the best we could. And we went 300 miles up there to do the broadcast, so we found a way to do it. As he comes back, it's going to be a ground ball into right field, a solid base hit that time. So with 2 outs.
Looks like it got by for probably, looks like an error and another base for Silva.
Just like that. I'm looking down, adding to my scorebook, and all of this is going on in right field. But
serving up the dish for the Wildcats, number 4, Christian Kirtley.
There is no doubt that the Notre Dame right fielder has been bedeviled in this ball game.
Well, I think he also is a little bit hurt. He was on deck last at bat, and he didn't get the hit, but he had the trainers taping up his glove hand, and he kept playing with it. So I wonder if there's an injury going on out there with his glove hand.
So with the one base error and the single, we got Mancinas at second, and Kirtley at the plate. First name Christian, the starting third baseman for Redlands East. We know, of course, we mentioned Notre Dame coming out of the Mission League. Redlands East out of the Citrus Belt League. A 9-5 record, by the way. They weren't the best in the Citrus Belt. They were third place.
Wow.
This is going to be hit as a one-hopper down to the shortstop. He takes it Hunter Green, and pretty much he's a human vacuum cleaner among his other retinue of talents, and that's that for the inning. So we played 3 complete. There you have it. Redlands, East Valley 4. That's a mouthful. Rev 4, Notre Dame 1. We'll be
One
back.
hit, no runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The score heading to the
Wildcats 4, Notre Dame 1.
Leading off the inning for the Knights, number 11, Noah Taylor.
Notre Dame, known as the Knights, their moniker. And Noah Taylor, the hitter, to begin things in this. It shows on our graphic the 3rd inning, but top of the 5th I have.
Top of the 4th.
4th, okay. Somebody's got it straightened out.
Noah got hit last at bat. Looks like they taped up his left wrist as well. Hopefully
Hit by
he's
the
all right.
pitch in the 1st inning.
Yep.
Yeah. Bobby Gonzalez. I love the way he changes speeds, and that roundhouse curveball's a strike. It's Gonzalez and Hobson, Fashionpour, Matei, Rodriguez, and Kirtley around the horn for this squad, and that's strike 3 called. The baffler on the part of Bobby Gonzalez. 1 down here in the 4th.
Stepping into
Damon
the box
Keith
for
in
Notre
left,
Dame,
Keller
number 5,
Rayborn in
Hunter
center,
Green.
Alfonso Mancinas, the right fielder. Notre Dame is shown in their lineup. Dalen Reyes at second, Noah Taylor in right, Hunter Green the shortstop, Josh Perlmutter at first. And number 5 at the plate, taking his hacks, Hunter Green, and that was going to be a high pop-up, and it's going to come down to the shortstop, Joe Rodriguez, for out number 2.
Just got under that one. That was still a very good swing by that young man.
Stepping up to the plate for the Knights.
He didn't give
number
us a
4,
chance to go
Josh
into our Hunter
Perlmutter.
Green stories. He just first pitch swinging, very aggressive, but this could be his last high school game.
Yeah.
And you've got scouts and all kinds of baseball people who are buzzing around here, thick as fleas right now.
Well, it's like we're at Wrigley with the people up out on the bleachers.
Right,
out
we
there
talked
on that,
about that
on
earlier.
berm.
The bleachers, the berm.
This
yeah.
reminds me of spring training. Actually, a lot of parks have sort of a setup like that.
I know you were and grew up and went there. I've never been there, but just seeing it on the broadcast, Holman Stadium, and there was no outfield fence there at Vero Beach.
Oh, that's
Holman
right.
Stadium.
That's right.
So the people would just congregate out there and make a picnic lunch or whatever.
Yeah,
the old Dodger town in Florida.
Yep.
Josh Perlmutter, the hitter. Anyway, completing the Notre Dame lineup. Mike Whiteside, the DH, Grant Berman at third, Carter Kissinger is the pitcher, Logan Pollock center, left fielder Devin Ornelas.
That was a nice stroke, base hit up the middle.
So a solid base hit that time for Perlmutter with 2 outs. And here comes Mike Whiteside for
Up
the
to bat
Knights.
for Notre Dame, number 19.
It's 4-1,
Michael Whiteside.
everybody. Wildcats, that's Rev. Redlands, East Valley.
I don't know if you're noticing, but the center fielder for Redlands East Valley is playing a little deeper than before. Probably trying not to allow the ball to get by him with this lead. I guess we call it no doubles. Doing that already in the 4th inning.
But there's a lot of space between the right fielder and the center fielder. It's a veritable Death Valley out there. If he ever hits it out there, it can run forever and a day.
That's right. Whiteside smoked a line drive to the second baseman last at bat.
So after Taylor struck out and a pop out on the part of Hunter Green, Perlmutter singled. By the way, could it be, double checking my stats, was that the first hit of the ball game for Notre Dame?
It is.
My, oh my. So Whiteside waiting, a quick throw just to keep Perlmutter honest at first base.
If you're going to steal off the lefty, you have to go on first move. So if Notre Dame's thinking of anything, they're going to be taking a little bit of a chance off this lefty.
He goes the other way, coming up quickly, left fielder Keith, and is going to fall in front of him for a Knight base hit. Couple of hits in a row, trying to break through against Robert Gonzalez. Knights at first and second, Grant Berman the hitter.
Berman having a
Stepping into
chance
the
for
box,
an
number
RBI right
27,
here.
Grant Berman.
Another great classic piece of hitting in terms of not trying to pull an outside pitch, but going with the pitch.
Well, and that's the key to every good hitter, especially with 2 strikes. I love to point out Mike Trout, a guy who's learned how to get his strikes down, and strikeouts down rather. And to his credit, he's learned how to go to right field, especially with 2 strikes. Give up the power a little bit, get on base, help the team.
Gonzalez's pitch, and that's a curve for a strike. By the way, you post some interesting stuff on your Facebook page since you teach the hitting aspect of the game of baseball, and you talked about how Trout uses the 30 percentile region of the outfield area, center field, better than anyone you've seen.
Yep.
As this is going to now squirt through for a base hit. Here comes the Knight runner to the plate. The throw not nearly in time, and the Knights finally break through. They got one in the first. Now they got another one here in the fourth, thanks to consecutive singles from Perlmutter, Whiteside, and Berman, and now it's a 4-2 ball game.
That's really good hitting right there. Again, using the middle 30 degrees of the field, and that allows the batter, if you're using the middle 30, if you're late, you got that right 30, and if you're early, you got the left 30, if you're a right-handed hitter. So that's the kind of proper approach that the professional scouts look for, because it creates consistency.
And that's what you were getting at, talking about Mike Trout's, again, talent, and then he showed a clip of him hitting that long drive home run to left center. As for this one, it just squirted right through, as I noted, by Grant Berman.
I think we have a pinch hitter.
Coming up for Carter Kissinger.
That line drive might have actually affected him. So it looks like we have number 17.
Who is not on our particular roster.
All right.
They do that just because they want to mess with us.
This might be one of those JV studs from Notre Dame. They called him up just for this reason.
Anyway, the Notre Dame hitter at the plate, and he looks very impressive up there. Gonzalez winds, and that one, what a pitch. He swung right through it for the strike, 0-1.
I think he turned that over a little bit, through maybe a little bit of a changeup. Good call against a pinch hitter. A guy going up really aggressive. That's a great pitch to call.
Number 17, no name associated with that uniform. And again, Robert Gonzalez trying to work out of it. A solo run surrendered to this Knight team in the first, and now another one here in the fourth. Still he's up 4-2. Redlands East took care of Santiago, a senior-laden team. And one more thing, Redlands East is a very young team out here. They got a great future ahead of them. That one was the changeup, and it is a strike. And boy, he really was paralyzed at the plate on that one.
Sure was. We call that a backdoor curveball. Lefty throwing like an outside corner curveball. As a batter, you see it as a ball, and it comes back as a strike.
Quick throw, and it was so very close at first base. And just like that, number 27, he looks a little shaken up over there, Grant Berman. No, he's all right.
I think he was a little disappointed he got fooled on that move.
Here's
right
the
there.
replay.
Almost.
It was a sweeping
caught him
tag,
leaving.
but he did get back. Gonzalez, I love his form. Boy, he just stays right with it. And that one, however, outside. Anyway, the three, I would call them the three amigos, but the three guys on this team, the triumvirate of sophomores, building for the future for Redlands East Valley. Catcher Caden Hobson, second baseman Robert Matei, and Damon Keith in left field. It's a different story for Notre Dame. They've got Hunter Green. They're all everything leaving, and that one swung on and missed, strike three. He paralyzed them there on the inside part of the plate, and he was just swinging in air. So Gonzalez gets out. It could have been worse. They surrender one, but leave a couple on. And right now at the end of 3.5, your score, Rev 4, Notre Dame 2. We'll be right back on liveplaysports.tv.
Leading off the inning for the Wildcats, number 16, Dylan Fashionpour.
We swing now into the bottom of the fourth inning. Welcome back, everyone, to the great San Bernardino County area, Redlands, California. Ronnie Wald along with, of course, Jimmy Campanis Jr., and we're starting things up now. It's 4-2, Wildcats of Redlands East, and Dylan right now is at the plate, who we always loved the last name, Fashionpour.
That's a great name right
I
there.
love it.
Fashionpour.
Dylan Fashionpour. And that one got away from the catcher. What they're showing now on our graphic, 0-1. Still a bit of the breeze moving in an easterly direction. Not as pervasive as before, but enough to carry a ball if it gets up there in the jet stream. It would be a souvenir for some of those fans up there on that berm up there.
Yep.
Like you mentioned, very much the Wrigley Field effect. Oh, that was so sad, though, at Wrigley Field when the Cubs started taking over those surrounding apartments because they saw there was money in it.
Exactly.
I mean, I could see their point. They were losing so much, but part of the charm was you could watch a ball game from the nearby apartment. They buy the apartment and put seats in. This is a ground ball down to Hunter. Boy, he throws that effortlessly. I mean, when you see the motions of a freshman high school player, and it's so, again, beyond what a senior high school player is, just their physicality.
Right.
Now you watch and you ratchet it up, and you see the movements out there of the naturally gifted Hunter Green out there beyond all these other very talented high school guys. You say he's on another planet.
I mean, the term the scouts use is it's a man playing with boys. And sometimes that's what it looks like with Hunter Green, even when he's playing shortstop. And there was a perfect example of how the ball jumps out of his hand when he throws it.
The only thing I thought was unfair in a very good Sports Illustrated article is the fact of putting so much weight on this young man's shoulders. Give him a chance. Let him start to blossom.
No doubt, but that's part of the deal. I mean, I had it too. Everybody, Giancarlo Stan, who came out of Notre Dame, everybody who's got any kind of success early in high school especially, you're going to just have to wear that and learn to deal with it. And most of the guys do that I've been around. In fact, I think sometimes it even, motivates you even more to kind of keep that dominance going.
Well, it says a lot for him if he can handle anything like that. Most adults would wither under that, again, pressure and
All
that
the elite,
microscope.
Elite athletes, though, I think you thrive on that. That's what you're there for. And if even when you have talent, that attitude has to be there with the players that kind of go to the next level and then to the final ultimate level.
The pitch inside and tight to Robert Matei.
One of my old friends, Brett Boone, I swear I tell him, you made it because of your confidence. You made it to the majors because you believed you were going to make it even in Little League. And he says, you're right. Look at my size. Look at my arm strength. Look at, didn't matter. Played 15 years in the big leagues.
That was fisted. He's going to have trouble with it. And finally, he used the glove to shade and get a look and find that baseball, find the rock, so to speak, and ultimately made the grab over there for the out, the first baseman, Josh Perlmutter.
That's number 13, Robert Gonzalez.
Here it is one more time. He's got it over the shoulder. So we have ourselves right now one down. And stepping up there right now, Robert Gonzalez, 2 outs, pardon me, as we're going to make a lot of mistakes without our scoreboard. Scoreboard makes us appear smarter than we are. And on the major league level, they've got spotters and limousines. And boy, they really sound smart.
They have 5 monitors, too. We got 1.
Yeah, but we got a big one here.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Here's the offering, and it's down low.
So we were talking off the break, Kessinger got pinch hit for last at bat, and yet he's back out there on the mound. So you got to kind of wonder if that line drive by Gonzalez lead off the game actually affected him a little bit. Maybe his running. And here's Gonzalez again.
He committed himself, no doubt on that one, for the strike.
He also committed himself to New Mexico State.
Yes. I'll tell you, I've been all over the country. But I've never had Mexican food like in Las Cruces. I love it there. And El Paso.
My wife's
close.
from Albuquerque. I can vouch for that, yeah.
Okay. Great part of the country, the land of enchantment.
It gets cold, though.
Colder in Albuquerque.
Too cold
it's
for
4,000 feet out there.
Too cold for my California blood.
Looking in right now, remaining in the ball game, but again, was he affected by that line drive off the thigh, and that's a line drive, but right at the very active Dalen Reyes in this ball game. Boy, he's gotten a lot of putouts and opportunities in this game. So as a result, we've gone through 4 complete.
Yep.
I rely on your scoreboard more than mine. And I do know the score, fortunately. It remains Rev 4 and Notre Dame 2. We'll be right back on liveplaysports.tv.
Yeah, you were a KGGI when Nick and I were roommates. I remember you were a KGGI, dude. Every time there's a guy who what's up, email. Oh, okay. Every time we drive around with your brother, you're like, oh, this is my brother's horse.
Okay, a rendition of Sweet Caroline, Mr. Neil Diamond. And
leading off the top
great
of the fifth
tune
for
to
Notre
be
Dame,
played at the
number
ballpark.
14,
Just gets the
Logan
fans
Pollock.
going, so to speak.
Well, it's kind of like the bottom of the 7th in high school, right? The bottom of the 5th.
Okay.
Or top of the 5th, I guess.
It's that moment in time where the fans can all come together. And Logan Pollock himself will start things off now in the top of the 5th for Notre Dame High School.
Number 14, Logan Pollock. By the way, I told you about this earlier. I learned this last game that his dog ate his first uniform, number 8, and he's actually listed on the roster as number 8, but obviously the dog won, and he's number 14 now. So.
And then my natural question for that is, the follow-up, is the dog all right?
He ate number 8, right? I mean.
Oh, brother.
Badumcha, sorry.
Hope he's all right from all that. So that's your, see, this is the in-depth stuff you can't get anywhere else that Jim Campanis has. And this is a high pop-up near the mound, and taking it will be the third baseman, Kirtley, for out number 1. So Robert Gonzalez continues Jim Campanis to, again, get that first out to start things in the inning, and that helps to neutralize this Notre Dame attack.
No doubt, and he's also throwing strikes. He has, very good mechanics. He kind of throws with that typical lefty angle. You really have to make an adjustment to your overall approach. And so far, Notre Dame hasn't quite figured him out yet.
Number 1 at the plate, Devin Ornelas. Devin himself, I have him popping out in the third inning, 0 for 1. He did come in. He saw some work. He hadn't started for a couple weeks. But in that Santiago game, they let Gonzalez come in for one and a third innings. A little ground ball down to second baseman Matei. And he'll dispose of the hitter at the plate, Devin Ornelas. And that is out number 2.
Stepping up to the plate for the Knights, number 7, Dalen Reyes.
He's chugging down the first baseline, giving his all, but all for naught. But anyway, they let him pitch. That was the game where Silva got the win over the senior-laden Santiago team. They beat him 7-4. An unlikely win for the Wildcats. And just to make sure Gonzalez got some work, he did preserve the victory. Didn't get the save, but he preserved the victory, so to speak.
One of my old teammates, Brian Terang's son, is on that Santiago team. They're a very good team, and he's ranked the number 1. He's the Hunter Green of next year's class. He's ranked the number 1 player in the country. And he's at Corona Santiago, shortstop.
And that pitch was a strike.
His name's Bryce Terang, by the way.
Okay.
Keep
an eye on him.
Keep
for
an eye
sure.
on Bryce Terang.
Absolutely. And that curveball found itself over, and now we've got a 2-1 count here, and this is the 5th inning, and still it remains. Rev 4, Notre Dame 2. Fastball misses high and outside. What I like also, here we are in the 5th inning, and we know it's 95 degrees out. We heard that from the Weather Channel already. A hint of a breeze, but look at out there. No doubt it's a lot hotter on the field than where we are.
For
and
sure.
He's still hanging in there and pitching well. A high drive, however, deep left center, and this one is going to fall between the center fielder and the left fielder. Heading into second base and standing with a long double right there was Dalen Reyes for Notre Dame.
If you see, we get the replay on that. This is what I talk about great hitting. This guy, in this particular pitch, the ball was on the inner half. He was able to stay inside of it and drove it to the left center field gap. That's great hitting on the part of Dalen Reyes.
Dalen went into that 0 for 2, so he had grounded out in the first, lined out in the third, so he was a very hungry hitter when he stepped up there right now and got that long double to left center between Keith and Rayborn. Here it is one more time.
Ball drops right between the two outfielders. Perfect placement with a perfect swing. We have another pinch hitter.
So 2 down, a double for Reyes, and let's see who they're going to send up there right now. The left-hander winds. Here's the pitch, and it's a strike.
Looks like
number 21 out there.
Yeah.
Chase Rowe.
Looks like they're putting Chase Rowe in to bat for Taylor.
Hunter Green is a great baseball name, but Chase Rowe has something to it as well.
For sure.
It's got some little bite to it. Swung on and missed, however, on that one.
That's exactly what Gonzalez wants those right-handers to do. He wants them to recognize it as an inside pitch, try to pull it, and literally the bat swings and then the ball comes in. That's what deceiving a batter's timing does.
Well, my point again was it's a lot hotter out there than where we are on the field, and he's still moving along like it's the first inning. His mechanics are beautiful, and he ends up striking out Rowe just like that, and they leave the double at second. So we've gone 4.5. It remains Redlands East Valley 4, Notre Dame 2 on this CIF Southern Section second round game here in Redlands, California. We'll be right back. Heading into the bottom of the fifth, everyone, it remains Redlands East Valley 4,
Number 1,
Notre Dame 2.
Rodriguez.
Number 1 coming to plate for Redlands East Valley in the person of Joe Rodriguez. And we're very careful about that. As we mentioned earlier, Redlands High School nearby, a rival. And yes, there is a Redlands West Valley, which is a powerhouse of prep sports as well. This area is really blessed with a lot of talented teams.
Rodriguez is the benefactor of 2 sun balls out there to right today. He's 2 for 2.
If they don't touch it with their mitt, then there's not an error. But again, there can be an error in judgment. But it won't show up in the scorecard. Carter Kissinger still out there facing off against Robert Gonzalez of the Wildcats. A 4-2 ball game, flagged by the third baseman Berman. The throw to first in time for the out.
Great job defensively on that play. That ball was smoked. And Berman stayed on that. You'll see the replay here.
Serving up the dish for the Wildcats. Number 7, Caden Hobson.
Great diving play, but it's not over until you move your feet and make a good throw like he did.
Nice job in the truck to get that replay. Excellent job. Number 7 is Caden Hobson, the starting catcher here in the 5th inning for this, again, Wildcats team. First pitch swinging, and it fouled back because we heard it back here near the backstop area. We're right behind the plate. We don't have much elevation here, and we do have quite an area here of the backstop where, well, our view is obstructed. We've decided to stand up. I usually stand up in football play-by-play, but baseball's so leisurely.
Yeah.
You know, football's so militaristic and bombs and all that, and baseball's fields and bucolic, lovely.
Right.
But we're standing for this one. So the playoffs continue. The winner here, you'll have to check the bracket, but they move on and we'll play Thursday somewhere. Notre Dame down 4-2 right now. Hanging in there. They haven't let this get away too far, but again, the difference in the game is the exploits of their great left-hander Robert Gonzalez, keeping Notre Dame in check. That one, strike 3 called. He struck him out with authority that time, taking the long, ignominious walk back to the dugout. Is Caden Hobson 2
Up to
down,
bat for Redlands
and here
East
comes
Valley.
Damon Keith.
Number 22, Damon Keith.
We were talking about their head coach, first-year Brian Ducey, inheriting a great team that went to the championship game last year, how he has that heart condition and he couldn't play all these, again, difficult sports. But the doctor did clear him for a time to play football, and he did right here at Redlands East Valley. And because he loves to coach, he helps his dad out at nearby University of Redlands. We talked about that as a volunteer assistant coach. But did you know he also coached here with the football?
Wow.
Yes, he did. Because Jim's friend right here, who's Redlands East Valley and knows the football situation here, works with them. 2003, they won the state title. 2014, okay. Yeah, 2003, they won the Citrus Belt baseball title. But football, 2014, for the whole state of California, and the receivers coach was none other than the Wildcat baseball coach, again, one Brian Ducey.
That's awesome.
High chopper, foul ball, grabbed over there by Berman.
Redlands East Valley actually has football practice after this game. They're going to do a little spring practice at 5 o'clock tonight. That's dedication for you right there.
It's probably the only time that's cool enough that they can go ahead and put the pads on.
Exactly.
But it's not over yet for these guys on the field. A very pensive situation right now. When you have Carter Kissinger trying to hold on down 4-2, reaching out a great piece of hitting and laying it there in front of the left fielder with the so-called bloop, the Texas leaguer. And so that puts a runner on. Damon Keith did not swing away Jimmy Campanis. He just went ahead and went with the pitch.
Well, yeah, it looked like he got fooled a little bit on the slider. The old stick the butt out trick kind of worked on that time. But he's 2 for 3 today, so must be doing something right.
Here comes Ryan Silva, 0 for 2. And you talk about a hungry hitter. He came in with 4 doubles, 13 runs batted in, a .392 average, and he has been throttled so far in this ball game. So right now, if there's any time Silva feels like he wants to get his comeuppance, an opportunity to get back in the ball game, here it is. We're all the way out here in Redlands, everybody, San Bernardino County. Really butted up close to the nearby neighboring mountains. Of course, we look off to the left, Lake Arrowhead, Rim of the World Road. Off to the right, actually in a direction beyond the right center field wall. That's running Springs and Big Bear. What a trip for Notre Dame coming all the way out here. But they came in luxury. They got a private tour coach bus to get here. Hunter Green probably took care of it himself. His dad. And the pitch, did he commit himself? Yes, he did break his wrist. It's a strike. We're just going to take a look at and wait for the draft coming up in June.
Yeah, we'll be hearing that name pretty quick.
His dad's a private investigator, a well-known one, and he lives in Stevenson Ranch. And for the life of me, because I do West Ranch baseball, which is the high school for that area, it's part of Santa Clarita Valley. That's the eastern part, east of I-5, near Magic Mountain. Why, again, Mr. Green didn't send his son to West Ranch. Off the end of the bat, and again, the human vacuum cleaner one more time. Berman, very solid, and there you have it. As we reach the end of the 5th inning, everyone, headed to the 6th. 4-2, Redlands. And I mean Redlands, East Valley.
No runs in the bottom of the 5th.
Live Play, Sports.tv. We'll be right back.
Score 4-2.
Leading off the top of the 6th for Notre Dame, number 5, Hunter Green.
Well, you heard it right there as we swing into the 6th inning. Welcome back, everyone, to Redlands, California. 4-2, Redlands, East Valley, and the all-everything. There he is, and maybe the last opportunity you see him at the plate. If, again, Notre Dame is denied, they can't come back in this ballgame. This is the end, Jimmy Campanis, of his high school career right here, seeing his final at-bat.
What a career, right? I mean, talk about a guy that's done everything. And, you know, nowadays these kids, it's not just playing the high school season. They play all summer. They play showcases. This kid's been out in Florida, Arizona, all over the place, and everyone sees the same thing, greatness.
That one, a nice, easy swing, and look how far he drove it. Way back there, and a great catch, consequently, by the center fielder, Keller Rayborn, and he went all the way to the deepest part of the ballpark to haul that one in, and what an effortless swing on the part of Hunter Green.
By the way, that ball has a real chance in Notre Dame, and I know he's committed to UCLA and may not play there, but I think that one, there again, that inside-out swing, that's exactly what you were talking about, that middle 30 degrees of the field. And that ball went a good 360, 370 out there, right?
There was a little bit more room than what it looked like to me from this angle, but nonetheless a good drive for a 17-year-old. But he's, like you said, the man-child.
He's legit. He's a legit position player on top of obviously being, you know, a top pitcher.
Well, then that's what I want to ask you about. I mean, of course, he's being drafted as a pitcher, but he's a remarkable hitter, leading the Mission League, a very tough Mission League with 6 homers, 28 runs batted in, on top of the fact that they had to shut him down in his pitching. He had himself in 28 innings pitched, 43 strikeouts, and he struck out 41% of his hitters at Notre Dame. So there's the conundrum.
Right.
The tension there, hitter or pitcher for Hunter Green. Which is the best career?
Well, I think it's obvious you got to start him as a pitcher. You know, you assume there's another good drive to left field.
But he's got it and is tracking it down. That's Damon Keith for out number 2. And I believe, and I don't doubt the Twins, with all the interest that they've sent, again, envoys, personal envoys, like Winfield and Torrey Hunter to stay in touch with him, that he'll do a great deal for baseball in the Twin Cities. I think it's fabulous.
No doubt.
I mean, you know, it'd be great if the Reds get them. It'd be great if San Diego. These are 3, again, deserving teams. But no doubt he's going to the Twin Cities. Now, I want to say this. they'll see him in the minor leagues and they'll develop him. And you're saying as a pitcher,
you look at what's the guarantee. He's going to throw the ball close to 100 miles an hour.
he's already done that. 102.
He's already done that. So you put that on the mound, And then, down the road, Rick Ankiel is a good example. Played for the Cardinals for a while. Was a pitcher. Began to have some issues as a pitcher. They moved him to center field, and he played another 5 years in the big leagues as a center fielder. Also a top-selling author right now.
Like you.
Now
you better plug your book right now. It's a shameless plug.
Born into
and
Baseball.
I want my autographed copy.
Yeah, Born Into Baseball. I was third-generation family, so bornintobaseball.com is where you get more information on my book. We have autographed copies that we can send out right to you.
And by the way, you didn't talk about, again, that great hitting opportunity, that company you work for.
Yeah, the Pro Glider.
It's a plug, but it will help them out there.
It sure will. Well, as a trainer, a baseball trainer, I'm training about 10 to 20 kids a week, and I use this trainer, this Pro Glider. It's called PRO Glider, and you can check it out, progliderbats.com. And what it does is it develops the type of swing that we're trying to get. And again, Hunter Green has that type of swing that we were trying to get. I try to get all my kids to get like on the inside of the ball, use the middle 30 of the field, give themselves the best opportunity to barrel up the ball. And I always say we're producers, not directors. You hit it hard, that's all you can do.
27, Grant Berman.
Well, with Grant Berman, the hitter, just a moment ago, Whiteside walked with 2 down. We're here in the top of the 6th inning, and now they want to have a discussion on the hill with the pitcher, Robert Gonzalez, and out there right now, the first-year head coach. We talked about Brian Ducey. So, yes, we have an opportunity here. Don't take your headsets off yet. Pro Glider, and while we have a break in the action, you being around the game of baseball, Born Into Baseball is the title of your autobiography, and what you can do for these young hitters. All strive to want to swing like Hunter Green. Now they can do it.
That's right, and I kind of look at, I named especially these specific right-handers like Miguel Cabrera, Yasiel Puig, of course Mike Trout, and you look up and down a lot of these young players that have come up in the recent years. Chris Bryant, fantastic right-handed swings that, they can hit a ball that almost hits them to the shortstop. Their hands clear that well, and that's what this Pro Glider bat does. It trains you to be able to get your hips and hands synced, which is really all that matters. And again, I love it because I would have used this thing in my hotel room before we even got on the bus going to the field, and just get myself ready in the nice confines of my hotel room.
And Jim Campanis Jr. knows what he's talking about, so check out Pro Glider.
ProGliderBats.com.
Amen. And the hitter at the plate is Berman, who's been scintillating at third base. Outstanding glove work.
That's for sure.
But now, opportunity to try to get his team back in it. He represents the tying run at the plate with 2 outs here in the 6th. The bewitching hour is almost here. There's only 4 outs remaining for the Notre Dame team to hope that their hopes are not dashed in this second-round playoff game, and that was a strike to Berman.
That's another example of a pitch that I think Berman got a little bit fooled. The action of that pitch, it looked like he was trying to pull it.
Another throw to check the runner at first. By the way, Whiteside has good speed over there, the designated hitter for the Knights. Yeah, they play in that veritable baseball palace. Swung on and missed, but this is a nice field here. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles over there. I have to mention it. We have that Neil Diamond track, Sweet Caroline, running on the break. People can't believe it. That's how well connected Notre Dame is. Neil Diamond on the opening game, when they actually had the grand opening of that ballpark, he sang the national anthem.
No way.
Yeah, he'd be singing now, but he's not necessarily a Wildcats fan. But this remarkable job Gonzalez has done for Redlands East Valley, and he ends up with a strikeout, striking out Berman to end the Notre Dame threat as they leave the runner at second. We head to the bottom of the 6th. 4-2, Redlands East Valley on LivePlaySports.tv.
The score.
Wildcats 4, Notre Dame 2. off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Wildcats. Number 27, Alfonso
Mencinas.
Alfonso Mencinas will step in there right now, trying to add some insurance, some buffer right now in the bottom of the 6th inning, with this same Redlands East Valley team having and holding on to a more precarious 4-2 lead right now. To his credit, Carter Kissinger starting his own 6th inning of work, and it's right now going to be a righty versus lefty matchup, so advantage to the hitter at the plate.
Well, he's 2 for 2 also so far tonight.
He's the one that had to battle again the sun at that juncture of the ballgame when the sun was high. Now it's starting to set beyond the western horizon. But one Mencinas, overall on the year, 329 average, and he can fly like the Wind Mariah. He's got 9 steals. If he gets on, up the middle, base hit, and there it is. We'll see if he'll have the green light or if there'll be a play on, because after Mencinas comes Christian Kirtley.
Stepping into the box for Redlands East Valley, number 4, Christian Kirtley.
Is an interesting guy. He only has a 261 team average, but he's made the most of it at bats. He's got 9 RBIs, and he's got himself 4 doubles. So you don't always, again, it's not indicative when you look at the batting average. I'd like to see other things like ability to produce runs and opportunities. Well, this guy does it.
UC Santa Barbara likes him enough to grant him a commit, so he must be doing something right.
So now he'll have to keep his eye not only on the hitter at the plate, Kissinger, but also the runner at first base, who's got the 9 big steals, and I'm talking about Mencinas. We're here in the 6th inning. Game's gone along quite swimmingly. Not yet the 2-hour mark in this ballgame.
I went to 2 USC games against Oregon over the weekend, and one of those 2 teams would be Bunting right now.
I wished I had gone to that game with you. Jim Campanis played, what was it, mid-'80s?
Yeah, late 80s.
Late 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Rod Dato 1 year, and then
Mike Gillespie for
Mike Gillespie.
the
What
two.
a combination.
Yeah,
but he's also a very active alumni. But we had a talented guy that led the Foothill League in home runs playing for Oregon now. His name's Jason Dries.
Yep, yeah.
And he's very close to the Salkeld family up there in that hotbed of baseball.
I caught Roger with the Mariners, and actually Roger was supposed to meet me at the USC game and never showed. We were
he is close to that Dries family. I'm sure they were nearby you somewhere.
Well,
inside and tight.
That's why he was coming to the game specifically to see that player. So
that's exactly right. See, when you're connected like Jimmy Campanis.
I caught him his whole season, his second year of pro ball, and he was a first-round pick. Unfortunately, that year they discovered that he was actually dislocating his arm every single time he threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So he had to have shoulder surgery, and I think that's one of the things that kept him from having a he played the big league, sure, but he could have been a lights-out Cy Young Award kind of guy.
Roger Salkeld, and still well-known and loved in the Santa Clarita area.
How can you not
love him? He
played
for Saugus.
He's awesome.
Or was it Canyons?
Saugus.
Saugus, yeah.
He was one of the top. He was the Mariners' first-round pick. I guess that was in 1990, and I caught him in 91 in Double-A. Yeah, Roger's a big dude. So I knew he didn't come to the game because there's nobody else as big as him in the crowd. And I'm like, yeah, Roger's not here. With that big gray goatee he's got now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an important guy. And in his lineage, the ability to help so many young players out there. They're all well connected in that part of the baseball world in Santa Clarita Valley. Look, they've got 5 major leaguers from Hart High School out there right now in the big leagues. I know that's the most in California, but I will then step out inferentially and think that that's possibly more than any high school in America.
Yeah, I think there's one Tampa school, but those guys are mostly retired by now. Whoa.
High drive, left field, but tracking it right now, the left fielder, Arnelas.
Good stroke,
and able to make the catch for the out. And what made it even more remarkable, again,
now
2 of those Hart players facing off against each other 16, in the World Series last year. They both played on the same team in 2008, and guess what? They're playing in the World Series. One for the Cubs, one for the Indians. So go figure on that, on the odds of that.
How great is that, though? That's, again, the Southern California is such a hotbed of baseball that you're going to start seeing the more and more and more of that,
Here's Dylan Fashionpour. And it gets away. There he goes,
umpire.
Showing off that great speed, and he gets into second base without a throw.
So that ball probably might have scored a run but the umpire stopped. I don't know if we have a replay of that, but it drilled the umpire pretty well.
And that's where he stopped it.
Watch this.
If he's not in the way.
Got him in the foot, and he's almost, he stays up. Okay. But again, if that ball doesn't hit him, it's going to be rattling down there in the corner.
At least he's at third base.
At least.
Mm-hmm. So now they need to have a discussion on the hill. Let's see how we'll all shake out.
They're just letting the umpire walk it off. I think they're doing the courteous.
We had an umpire out there in the Foothill League this year that actually suffered a stroke. So that was an incredible moment. And he stumbled as he went back into the dugout area. So, again, that was one of those burning hot days, one that affected that particular umpire. And, of course, we keep an eye on them as well because, as we said, it's a lot hotter on the field than where we are right now. And it's 93 where we are.
Yeah, I have to say, I played all over the country, all over the world. And I played in Memphis when it was so hot that I got in my catcher stance and sweat oozed out of my shoelaces.
Right.
Okay,
that's the South.
But I'll tell you, the one thing is I got to go sit down for 3 outs. These umpires, wearing black, or we called them blue, but they still usually had dark colors on. They're out there the whole, 27 outs. And that's, as much as we love to hate them, I still have to admire and respect their commitment to the game, to be out there, for the whole thing.
So Tom Dill just giving some personal salutation there to Kessinger. Tom Dill, can you believe it, 25 years of excellence, Hall of Fame all the way, coaching the Notre Dame team, 8 20-win seasons, and a guy that came into town the other day for the Miami Marlins, who does a lot for Notre Dame baseball, Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, and they threw behind him to thank him at the Dodger game. You saw that?
I saw it.
Yeah.
And the pitch, a little piece of it, but it's held on by the catcher for the strike on the part of number 16 at the plate right now, Dylan. And again, Fashionpour.
Yeah, Giancarlo's name is retired on the wall at Notre Dame, as well as Jack McDowell, a pitcher that I unfortunately had to face.
Yeah, Jack McDowell. What a hard thrower he was in the day. Didn't Tim Foley play over there as well?
Yeah, there were a number of notable major leaguers that have come through Notre Dame's program.
Tim Foley, the former Expo and Met.
And
back
Pirate.
in the day.
Pirate, too.
Mm-hmm.
And Angel. He was an Angel for a while.
And Hunter Green will be joining that pantheon, so to speak.
No doubt.
Of legends from Notre Dame High School. Yeah, when you walk in that stadium, you just have to go there and check it out. I mean, with all, as you mentioned, the great stadiums in the southern part of the California League, they've got all the bells and whistles. That is what's going on at a high school level at Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
The pitch is over for a strike, and a dandy that time on the part of Carter Kessinger.
I think he called that a ball.
Oh, then I was waylaid.
Oh, maybe he did call it a strike.
Yeah,
okay.
He's going to take
There
that long walk.
Right. So
okay,
somebody
that was
didn't know
strike 3 called.
Yeah, somebody didn't know the strike, and it was the batter. Didn't know the count, rather.
Before I get some calls and letters about my senility or that I'm getting on, we haven't had a scoreboard, which is against CIF regulations. You have to have a scoreboard in the playoff game. But we've just been muddling through. So the hitter at the plate right now, and Kessinger's trying to work out of it. However, there's a Wildcat over there in scoring position at second base. That one, fisted foul into the screen. 0-1. Robert Matei, 0 for 1 in this ballgame, number 12. The number 9 hitter for Redlands East High School.
He's got 2 ground balls to the pitcher this game, so he's trying to go up the middle. Actually, right now, that'd be a good idea. 2 outs, try to score that runner from second.
Here's the offering. That one, breaking ball, and that's going to be a strike. So Notre Dame ended up taking care of business in the Tough Mission League to win the championship in that league. Finishing third, however, on the other side of the ledger, in the Citrus Belt, is this Redlands East team who made it to the championship game last year in Division II. I've been so focused on Division I games of late. It's great to see the quality of baseball. Division II pitch outside, runner goes, and no throw on the part of the catcher.
That's a real tough ball to throw on when you're a catcher. Plus, I'll tell you, it's easier to throw a guy at second in my experience. Runners, when they get the jump, like, look at that jump. That jump that the runner got from second, the catcher, I mean, he has no chance on that pitch. Maybe if it was an up-and-in fastball with quick feet, he'd have a chance. He did the right thing by not throwing.
They desperately do not want to allow this Wildcat run to score. Great job backhanding that to keep it from going to backstop on the part of Jalen Parks. Because this game, runs are coming at a premium. Great pitching duel after we got through the first couple of innings. Now it's 4-2, within striking distance for, again, Notre Dame in the 7th inning. However, 90 feet away from adding insurance is this Wildcat team. High fly ball. He says he's got it. Even in the sun, one-hands it. Noah Taylor in right field. We're headed to the 7th. Last chance for the Knights. 4-2, Redlands East High School. And we'll be right back.
Let's go. Let's go. Believe. Let's go.
Hanging on top of the 7th inning score, Wildcats 4, Notre Dame 2. Number 1, Joe Rodriguez. Robert Gonzalez will be the first base. Christian Kirtley, the shortstop. Dylan Castleboy, the third. Folks, this is your last chance to visit the snack bar. They've got nachos, pizza, candy, burritos. If you're thirsty, they have water for $1. Leading off the top of the 7th inning, number 34, Carter Kessinger.
Welcome back, everyone. The 7th inning and the last chance for Notre Dame here in Redlands, California. And this is the CIF Southern Section D2. Second round game, 4-2, Redlands East Valley. And Notre Dame setting up the pitcher, who's pitched a good ball game, just not quite good enough because Robert Gonzalez has been a little bit better for Redlands. Here's the pitch, and it's inside and tight. And the new pitcher out there, Gonzalez, has now moved to the shortstop position. And Joe Rodriguez will move from shortstop to the pitching mound to try to shut the door on the Knights.
I think if the game had started right now, the first inning would not have happened. I think the right fielder catches those 2 fly balls that go out there. And it's a whole new game for Kessinger in terms of the runs that came. You know, he got hit with 2 runs right off. Was it 3 runs in the first inning?
And I'll tell you something, I don't like dealing in hypotheticals, but that is a very salient, very valid point. Of course, sun is setting beyond that western horizon, and they can start these games a little bit later. There's no doubt, because now the sun's not going down until around 8 o'clock.
Right.
Except it could be a school night. That's always a factor. Nonetheless, Joe Rodriguez is in there, and they did have to deal with that, and both teams had to deal with it.
That's right. And I'll say, though, you know, Redlands East Valley was hitting the ball to right intentionally, like they knew, you know, as in a home field. But look at this.
Ball 4. It's not over yet. Kessinger gets on. The pitcher hanging tough in there, drawing the walk, and now representing the tying run at the plate, Logan Pollock, the hitter. Right now, and Logan Pollock comes up there 0 for 2. And I'll tell you something. A very, very hungry hitter in the person of Logan.
They're pinch hitting for Kessinger, of course. He's got
batting
that
for the Knights.
got that
14,
knot in the back of
Logan
his
Pollock.
leg there from that line drive, I'm sure.
So number 8's going to be running out there, Ryan Silva.
It's a smart move by Coach Dill.
The legendary Coach Dill, who's had himself something very special, Hunter Green, and a team that's won 22 of 30 games this year. His Knights team 2017 edition, as the pitch misses outside to the left-handed bat of Logan Pollock.
So, we're looking at a new pitcher on the mound this inning, and I have to say, that sometimes, Gonzalez is throwing so well. I know as a catcher, sometimes I go, geez, Coach, keep him in. He's doing all right. But maybe there was a pitch count.
I think that is a complete factor because he's had complete games. He's been able to finish games. He has the ability, and I just feel that that's what was happening. There are limits. There are regulations coming down from the CIF Southern Section office in Los Alamitos.
Well, they can't throw more than 110 pitches at all, period. But if they throw more than 75, they have to have a 5-day rest. So maybe they're thinking about using him in the next game, assuming that they win this. And so the coach decides, hey, I'll bring in my next guy. Sometimes that doesn't always work, though. So we'll see if Notre Dame can capitalize.
One thing about this Wildcat team, if they win this ball game, they can come back with another quality pitcher because they are deep.
Yeah.
They don't rely on really just one great arm like a lot of teams do. They are very deep, and no matter what happens for them this year, they are building for the future. This is a ground ball right down the second baseman. He then knocks it down, recovers the throw to second in time for the force play.
They got lucky there wasn't a double play on that, though. That was almost tailor-made.
It was looking at a 4-6-3. Double play, pitcher's best friend. Instead, it becomes a force play. Runner at first now in Logan Pollock. We've got one down. And let's see if they're going to bat Devin Ornelas or if they're going to pinch hit for him.
It's like number 23 stepping up.
I don't have a roster number for 23. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Lucas Gordon. Okay. Yeah. So Tom Dill now reaching down into the deep well of his bench and
Pinch hitting for
trying
Notre
to pull
Dame,
something out
number
here.
9 spot. Number 23, Lucas Gordon.
It's the right-handed pitching, Joe Rodriguez. They, as you mentioned, you alluded to, they had themselves a face-off against a southpaw for 6 innings. Now they get a chance to look at the right-hander.
Well,
Does that open the door? Does that make them feel like they have a new opportunity?
For some guys it will. For other guys, they probably wish they could hit off of Gonzalez again because they felt they were right on him. And again, that's baseball. Everybody kind of has their thing. But I bet the lefties are loving life right now.
The pitch is high, ball 1. So sitting on pins and needles, tension so thick you can cut it with a knife. Right now here in Redlands, California. 4-2, Redlands East Valley, but Notre Dame threatening here in the 7th inning. This is it. Pitch over for a strike. Tall, angular young man is running at first. Looks like, they're going to stick with number 14 over there.
That's Pollock. He's the guy who's supposed to be number 8, but the dog.
Oh, that's right, the dog. that threw me completely.
I'm glad I remembered that from last game, or else we would be struggling right now with number 14.
That's right. The dog Notre Dame caper. The jersey caper. That pitch missed outside, and it's 2-1. So this starts to get into a situation where the pitcher has to come in, and these are good counts for a hitter, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But that one's way outside.
Well, I'll tell you, the batting average, and this is a fact, the batting average, especially in the counts, like favorable counts, which are obvious, 3-1, 2-0, even major league batters are hitting over 300 off of that. But the one that surprises most people and is the one that's almost equal as those two counts, and that's the first pitch. Oftentimes you hear announcers like us saying, oh, and he swung at the first pitch. That's like it's a bad thing. I'll tell you, though, when you can barrel up that first pitch, oftentimes it's very productive.
Rod Carew loved the first pitch, but he could work a count as well. He had a little bit of everything. Pitch over for a strike this time. So Rodriguez standing tall. He could have slipped into a situation there where he would surrender to walk, but now they've gone as far as they can go, 3-2. Runner takes his lead off first. We'll see if he's taking off. He's not. The pitch, this is going to be a drive to right. It's going to be right center, chasing it down. And did he catch up to it?
No.
No, he dropped it. He dropped it in right center. Here comes the Knight to the plate. There's not going to be a throw. There'll be a throw to third, and the ball gets away at third. He's safe over there. Wow. It's a 4-3 ball game here in the 7th inning.
That is a great pinch hit at bat. People are going crazy here at Redlands East Valley.
Yeah, the Notre Dame faithful that made the long 70-mile sojourn out here. Now here's the replay of it, and he just chased it down. One Keller Rayborn as far as he can go.
Well, Rayborn makes a great attempt. They're not seeing it on this replay, but he dove. It looked like the ball went in his glove, out of his glove.
And my view was obstructed for a moment there. I thought he had made one remarkable catch. He made a remarkable effort.
But then if you'll notice, and then I don't know if we can see this on the replay, the relay was perfect. The runner should have been out at third. That would have been a terrible mistake, by the way, to make that out right there with the game on the line like it is.
It would have meant 2 outs. Yeah, 4-3, but you wouldn't have to deal with a runner over there at third base.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Instead, the ball slipped away, squirted away, and you got a runner at third, the potential tying run, a beleaguered Joe Rodriguez out there. Looks like they're possibly going to pull him. They are. They're going to bring in Ryan Silva, the third pitcher of the ball game. Rodriguez is done. Silva now facing, again, the one-game situation, one and done. Winner moves on, loser ignominiously goes home, and it's a 4-3 ball game right here in the 7th inning. We'll be right back on LivePlaySports.tv. Welcome back, everyone, here in the 7th inning. Ronnie Wald, along with Jim Campanis Jr. Jim, it got quite exciting there, and a timely double, or actually it turned into a triple, on the part of Notre Dame, drives in one, and they're one away now from tying this ball game here in the 7th.
Well, this is the proof that Notre Dame is battling. They battled all year. They've played in a very, very challenging Mission League, and they're here to play another game. I mean, and this is what CIF baseball, playoff baseball is all about. Love it.
Number 7 stepping up there, the leadoff hitter, Dalen Reyes. Grounded out in the first, lined out in the fourth, a double in the fifth. He's 1 for 3. And if I may step out on the limb, in August I celebrate 35 years in LA sports play-by-play. Maybe it was a mistake, again, pulling Robert Gonzalez from this ballgame.
We don't know the true reason yet. I mean, it could have been anything from him being a little hurt to his pitch count being too high. I certainly hope it wasn't to have him be able to pitch in the next game. I kind of think you have to look at these playoff games as the 7th game of the World Series, almost every game,
Well, the third pitcher of the ballgame is Ryan Silva, who led the Orange Belt League. As this gets away from the catcher, and for a moment in time, it looked like number 1, Joe Rodriguez, who's over there at third, would be taking off.
There's a lot of real estate. This is like
check that Reyes taking off from third.
When I was catching, you just hated to play at a place that was this deep behind home plate. You knew there was no chance of you getting anything off the backstop. So.
Anyway, he's number 1. He's number 1 in Citrus Belt League strikeouts. Got that straightened out. Silva, but that pitch didn't look like it had any velocity on it, or that he would be a leader in strikeouts at all. That was off-speed pitch way down into the dirt.
I see good snap on that, though, and I know a lot of the younger hitters have trouble with the breaking ball, and some of these younger pitchers can master that curve and get strikeouts.
He hides the ball effectively. There is the bullet, but it's low for ball 4. He ends up walking Dalen Reyes. We've got runners at the corners right now in the 7th inning. It's 4-3. Redlands East Valley High School. The walk to Reyes, remaining at third over there, is one Joe Rodriguez. High drive deep to left center field, drove in 1 run to make it a 4-3 ball game here in the 7th. And a runner at third coming in, and I'm telling you, it was a close play. He was tagged out, and the ball became dislodged over there. It just squirted away from the third baseman, allowing that runner, who right now is Rodriguez, and he's firmly ensconced at third base right now, 90 feet away from tying this ball game.
Looks like we have a pinch hitter.
Number 10, Drew Litwin.
So going into his deep bench continually is Tom Dill, and now he pulls out another one out of his magic bag of tricks, and we're talking about Drew Whitman.
Well, they're so deep at Notre Dame. You know, what a luxury.
Drew Litwin, thank you very much.
Drew Litwin.
And the pitch is a strike. But likewise, this Redlands team is very deep in terms of pitching. And so let's see how they play the chess game right now. Matching move, mano-a-mano here at this juncture of the ball game. And boy, I couldn't get any closer than this, and we couldn't get a better ball game than this. A real dandy. Silva rocks. Here's the pitch. He squares to bunt, and they weren't taking off on that.
I think that was a safety squeeze,
yeah,
actually.
I was going to ask you that.
It looked like the runner was creeping down along with the third baseman, and it was kind of contingent on if the ball got down. We're seeing this play a lot in college as well. In fact, USC lost the other day with something very similar. Runner ended up stealing home.
I would have loved to have seen that.
I happened to be on the Oregon side because it was in the shade, and boy, were they happy.
I bet. Dalen Reyes continues at third base. Here's the offering. Actually, they got number 1 over there, pardon me, Devin Ornelas. He's the one that hit the long drive to right center. And I'll tell you, a couple of close plays, and this whole thing would be over right now. If he makes the catch in right center, Keller Rayborn, okay, that's the second out. If they happen to make that throw to third and he doesn't, again, get away from the third baseman there, bouncing off the back of, again, the runner at third, then we got ourselves, Redlands got the win. A bunt is laid down, a good one, falling down the first baseman, and number 1 scores. Number 1, Ornelas scores to tie this ball game up here in the 7th inning.
That bunt was perfectly executed, a tough curveball. See if we could see that on the replay.
Well, remember we talked before the inning, we said how far along will it be? He's hitting number 6 or 7 in the order in the 7th inning. Well, guess who's coming to bat right now?
Of course.
Hunter Green.
Well, that's why you put the guy number 3 in the lineup. It just seems to happen like they come up to bat. What I don't really quite understand there is the play on the first baseman there. He really had a chance to just get an out at first base and make it 2 outs. Now we still only have 1 out. So Fashionpour probably could have just stood up and thrown the ball to first and made that play.
Well, it's a case of he's thinking he has to put all the emphasis on the runner scoring. The runner's going to score no matter what. Get the out any way, shape, or form. He didn't do either of those things. He ended up slipping on the grass. So Fashionpour that time, 5, another one of the errors in this ball game. This star-crossed, crazy ball game in Redlands, and we have a deadlocked game. It's now 4-4.
Now the most dangerous batter on the field is up for Notre Dame, just as Coach Steele planned it.
And still it remains 1 out. A little ground ball down the first baseman. Fashionpour fell down. Runner scored to tie it. Now here's the drive to center, and it's caught immediately by the center fielder Rayborn, and nobody's going to be moving on the base pass on that one. It was hit like a laser shot, but right at Keller Rayborn for the 2nd out. I kind of wished on that one
for Notre Dame,
Jim Campana said he would have worked the count a little bit.
Perlmutter.
Well, I'll tell you though, that pitch was, it's a hanging curveball. It's right in his wheelhouse, and I teach batters, when you get that pitch, hit it. I mean, you may not get one in that bat. Now, granted the situation, the hindsight part, but I mean, that's aggressive hitting. Nothing you can say when you barrel it up that you did anything wrong.
Well, as a result, it's an out. And here comes number 4 to the plate, Josh Perlmutter. And I'm going to tell you something right now. For Josh, he's a hitter that's got himself a hit in this ball game, but was also picked off when he reached base on that error in the first inning. So he's had a little bit of both sides.
Yeah, 2 for 3. If he has a double and a single today, scored a run, and right here he can be the hero.
Runners at first and second for Notre Dame. The pitch by Silva, and he gets under that one. It's going to be a high, shallow fly ball to left, and making the grab. That's going to be Gonzalez, the former pitcher who filled in over there at shortstop, and that will end things. And for the Wildcats, a chance to win this ball game in the bottom of the 7th. Finally, Notre Dame catches up. They tie it at 4. Don't you dare miss the 7th inning, the bottom of the 7th. Coming up on LivePlaySports.tv. We'll be right back.
Hey, nothing here, we're here. Hey, look, no, hey. Hey.
Hey, then part of this broadcast is brought to you by the Pro Glider. This is the training bat of the pros. Some of the best high school, college, and pro players using the Pro Glider, both in softball and baseball. It develops the perfect swing inside the ball. Again, I look at all the best hitters, the Trouts, the Miggies. These are the guys that have this swing that the Pro Glider will help create just for you.
All right, Pro Glider made it possible for us to be here and bring you this broadcast, so we're grateful to them. Thank you, Darren, for making the call to me out there in Ventura. Yeah, Ventura was lovely, but I am glad I came out here because we got a dandy of a ball game, and we're sure glad you made it all the way through as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, a flat-footed 4-all tie. Redlands, East Valley, Notre Dame, and I have to say, Jim, that Notre Dame very scrappy there, hung in there, hung around, and ultimately got the tie.
Well, and that's, all the best teams have this trait of coming back and never giving up. And obviously it'd be real easy to have given up that last inning for Notre Dame, but instead they went back and were Bulldogs.
Brand new pitcher on the hill. You may have seen him before. I haven't. It's a left-hander out there, number 3. So it's first pitch swinging, chopper down to Hunter, and that should be no problem for him with that powerful right arm to get the first out here in the 7th inning. That was number 13 at the plate, Robert Gonzalez.
Number 1, Joe Rodriguez.
Now it's Joe Rodriguez, who took over as the pitcher, moving from the catcher, the shortstop spot, and while Gonzalez himself moved from pitcher to the pitcher, or should I say from the pitching spot to the shortstop position.
Back to short, that's right.
Yep. The left-hander, and that was a beautiful pitch. That one had a lot of movement on it. You've seen this pitcher? Because you've been following Notre Dame longer than me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. He looks very familiar. They had quite a few pitchers that came in that
Connor
last game.
Skirtich.
Yeah, it doesn't...
Doesn't ring a bell? Off the end of the bat, through the legs of the third baseman, Grant Berman. What did we say all game long? The human vacuum cleaner. And when they needed it most, no. Here's the throw into second, not in time. And give them credit on that one. Jimmy. No doubt he took advantage and the opportunity there, because if he gets thrown out, you've got 2 outs and nobody on. That was a real risky play, but he got there.
No doubt, but I'll tell you, you
Into the box for the
get the
Wildcats.
second on that ball
Number
because
7,
you think about it out of the box.
Hobson.
Watch him run right out of the box. He knows that he's going to he's going to get the second base
And
on
he's
this
got
play.
nothing to lose. I gotta love that reckless abandon on the part of number 1, Joe Rodriguez, taking advantage there when they needed it most and really put a fire under their team. By the way, when Notre Dame tied this ball game up in the top of the inning, they came running out of the dugout area. They're so full of enthusiasm, and the umpires said, get back, get back.
Right.
Now we see in baseball that the momentum goes back the other way, and now we see the excitement now starting to brew for the Wildcat group over there.
Looks like they're going to pinch run for Rodriguez.
Number 21, it's Chase Rowe. So runner at second to win this ball game. Allow Redlands East Valley High School to move on and play Thursday in the 3rd round and end Hunter Green's career.
Well, isn't this exactly what happened last inning? The number 3 hitter in the lineup is up with the game on the line. It's crazy how the batting order, it just works out this way. Gotta love baseball, you know?
Caden Hobson is the guy on the spot, the Johnny on the spot, so to speak. And the guy right now they're counting on with a base hit to win the ball game. The big roundhouse curveball from Connor finds itself outside 1-0. Connor Skirtich, Skertich. And a quick salutation or encouragement coming from his shortstop over there, Hunter Green.
I think they're also trying to make sure that this runner at second doesn't get too big of a lead. It is leaving a big hole in the left side of the infield, though, because Green has to be a little bit closer so the second baseman can play the pull. So there is a big hole in the left side.
Trying to win this ball game. Trying to get the timely hit. By the way, Caden in this ball game got the RBI double in the first and then struck out twice against Gonzalez. He's 1 for 3.
And he struck out looking. Actually, they're going to walk him now.
They just don't want anything to do with him.
That's a good call by Coach Dill.
First base open, why not? Now they're going to have to face against Damon Keith. But Damon himself
Stepping
is
into
2
the
for
box for
3.
Redlands East Valley, number 22, Damon Keith.
The only negative thing you might think about that is, you take that lefty-lefty thing away. But again, with the base open like that, you're better off being able to get an out at any base right now.
And that is the imprimatur, so to speak,
right?
The proviso. No doubt that's what they're going after. Or possibly the DP, the double play, to force it into overtime, into extra innings.
Well, we got a great middle infield here for Notre Dame that can turn 2.
Dalen Reyes and Hunter Green.
There goes the runners.
Curveball, runners go. The throw is into left field. Here comes the runner to plate. Here comes the throw to the plate. He dives in, he scores. Redlands East Valley High School has done it in the bottom of the 7th. An errant throw from the catcher, Jalen Parks, into left field. Ultimately, Dalen Ornelas tried to throw the runner out, but there was no chance to get Joe Rodriguez here in the 7th. And the final score, as Redlands East Valley High School will be moving on, playing on Thursday. Notre Dame season is over with the 5-4 win for the home squad, Redlands East Valley. Jim Campanis, what a ball game.
That was an outstanding ball game. No die by either team. In fact, the catcher wouldn't even move his leg at the end there. That's how much both teams wanted to win this game. So I give hats off, obviously, to Notre Dame for a fantastic season and the never say die attitude right up until the last inning of their CIF playoff game.
Notre Dame falls to 22-9 overall. Redlands improves to 22-5. If you're interested in who they're going to play, check the CIF Southern Section website. It'll tell you exactly what happened. Unfortunately, Connor Skirtich ends up being the loser, but the tough luck loser, because the real loser, unfortunately, and it can happen in any high school or any time, but the moment in time they had a double steal going on there, hoping that there would be a chink in the armor, a mistake made by Notre Dame. It certainly was when Jalen Parks threw it into left field.
Yeah, again, I'm a catcher, former catcher. That's one of those plays where, sometimes, you're better off not even throwing it. I think he had a chance on that particular play. And I think he did his best. Maybe the third baseman could have tried to block it somehow. But again, to the credit of a Redlands East Valley, the tenacity and the never give up, they showed that the entire game, and so did Notre Dame for that matter.
Ryan Silva gets the win. Skirtich gets a loss in a ball game that went 2 hours and 13 minutes. Again, Jimmy Campanis, what a joy and thrill to be with someone not only so knowledgeable, but so nice, and it makes my job very easily. Thank you to Darren in the truck. Again, Redlands East Valley High School persevere and come out on top after Notre Dame caught up and tied the ball game in the top of seventh. You couldn't get more dramatic than that. The Wildcats win in the bottom of the seventh. Final score, Redlands East Valley High School 5, Notre Dame High School 4, and farewell to Hunter Green. And leave it for the final comment by you about the legendary career of Hunter Green at Notre Dame.
Well, and again, today he didn't get any hits, but he had 3 what I would call quality at-bats, 3 productive at-bats in terms of what he was trying to do. And obviously this guy is being looked at as a pitcher, but again, I'll say it till the end of the day. I look at him right now, not have ever seen him pitch live, but I know that he could play at D1 for sure as a D1 shortstop, and I've seen guys on my minor league and major league teams that look just like Hunter Green would look. And so this kid's got a bright future, whether it's with the bat and the glove or with the arm. So best of luck to him, and I got a feeling that he'll be coming back and seeing his old Notre Dame team play before he goes off to spring training one of these days.
All right, you folks will be watching the June draft. You know they'll be driving the Brinks truck up the Stevenson Ranch, California home of Hunter Green, because I believe the Twins are going to get that first pick. Again, 5-4, Redlands East Valley over Notre Dame. For Jimmy Campanis Jr. and the folks in the truck, including Darren, another good guy, I'm Ronnie Wald. So long for now.
I'm Gifting Gope, Major League Baseball player. Please support international baseball by subscribing to CBO TV.